What's going on, everybody? As many of you know, the spot Ethereum ETFs just went live yesterday. We're going to go over how the first day went, what I expect from Ethereum for the rest of this year, and kind of glance at how the spot Bitcoin ETFs played out in the beginning. I'm also going to talk about both Ethereum and Bitcoin's chart, and we're going to talk about a Bitcoin buy signal that's flashing for the first time this year. Sorry I didn't post yesterday, guys. I had to take my son to the dentist. Fun stuff. Oh, I also want to talk about something else that I found pretty interesting. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF inflow, BlackRock's alone, outpaces the Magnificent 7 stocks. That's right, BlackRock's IBIT, not all the spot Bitcoin ETFs, just BlackRock's alone, has accumulated nearly $19 billion in Bitcoin year to date, and it outpaces the inflows into the Magnificent 7. This trend was highlighted by Jaron Blockland, founder of Blockland Smart Asset Fund. This is more than Invesco's NASDAQ 100 ETF, which includes the hyped Magnificent 7 and AI boom. Additionally, Fidelity's spot Bitcoin ETF ranks 11th, gathering $10 billion in inflows. These ETFs now hold nearly 5% of the whole supply. By the end of this year, I do think they'll be somewhere very near 10% of Bitcoin's overall supply. We also have this interesting news. A massive rally is due as this buy signal flashes for the first time. And according to hash ribbon data, the Bitcoin miner capitulation is over. So Bitcoin hash ribbons, they track two moving averages of hash rate, which is an estimated combined processing power that miners dedicate to the network. When the 30-day moving average drops below the 60-day, it suggests that miners are struggling. When the opposite occurs, meaning when the 30 is above the 60-day, it's been a historically reliable buy signal. And that is now what we're seeing. We are seeing the flip, the 30 back above the 60. And you'll notice that we really don't see it all that often. We saw it back here in July of 2023. Before then, we saw it roughly in January of 2023. So it's not something that comes up very often. On July 23rd, the indicator exited capitulation for the first time in over 2 months. The last exit came in August of 2023, when Bitcoin was under $30,000. Now looking at Bitcoin, we are literally a 10% move from all-time highs. It might not feel like it, but we are very close to all-time highs. And it's just funny the amount of boredom here. When last cycle, we essentially topped out right around here. And this was in the post-halving year, 1 year after the halving. We are still in the halving year. And in my opinion, once we can break back over the previous all-time high, once we can work towards our new all-time highs, I think what's really important is breaking that previous all-time high, that 69,000, getting back into the psychological 70s. I think that'll be the next time Bitcoin breaks out. And in reality, you know, we're just establishing a very, very strong potential zone for future support. One thing I did want to show you here, we're looking at the 4-hour. We do have a bullish RSI divergence, a hidden divergence. This is typically a continuation signal. And we have the RSI dropping here, lower lows, but we have higher lows here on the chart. Now here's something else though. We do have a bearish divergence as well. We have higher highs here, and we have lower highs on the RSI. So we basically got both sides fighting it out. Mixed signals right now. One great thing with Bitcoin is we're now above the 50 and 200 MA. And I want to show you on our retracement, after our big run, when the spot Bitcoin ETFs were approved, after we went on our rally from like 39 all the way to new all-time highs of 74,000, if you look at the fib retracement, we did come down pretty much perfectly to that 0.618. And before we came down here, on our first pullback, we pulled down to the 0.5 before kind of recovering. But on this broader move, you know, we did come down to the 0.618 and the 0.5. I do think that is all the market needed for a retracement, for a little bit of a cool down before we go on our next leg. And while it seems unlikely here, probably won't happen, I'm going to stick by my $80,000 price target by August. We've got like a week left. We'll see if we see an $80,000 Bitcoin by August. I think I'm going to turn out to be wrong there, but we'll see. Now I want to talk about the spot ETH ETFs. Spot ETH ETFs posted 107 million in net inflows on the first day, despite being weighed down by nearly 500 million from Grayscale Ethereum Trust, ETHE. It's going to be a similar problem with Bitcoin. We saw a lot of sell pressure from GBTC. We're going to see a lot of sell pressure from Grayscale's Ethereum Trust. But that's okay, because what happened with Bitcoin overall? It still went on a massive rally. And I'll show you the chart to kind of give you an idea of what I expect from ETH, but we'll get there in a second. BlackRock's ETH Trust, ETHA, led the pack with 266.5 million of inflows, followed by Bitwise, ETHW, with 204 million in inflows. And then Fidelity, FETH, came in third with 71.3 million. And here we have ETHE, Grayscale's, 484 million of outflow, everything else with a little bit of inflow, some much larger than others, some smaller than others. We did see a net positive inflow day. And it says here, In January, spot Bitcoin ETFs were marred by a similar dynamic with the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which saw over 17.5 billion in outflows following the launch of the 11 spot Bitcoin ETFs. But what happened overall? We went massively higher in price despite that sell pressure. Now I want to kind of quickly show you Bitcoin to show you what I expect from Ethereum. Remember, the Bitcoin ETFs were approved. We did see a buy the rumor, sell the news event. The thing with ETH is we really didn't see a buy the rumor part. I mean, face it, Bitcoin was under 28,000 in October, and within a couple months, Bitcoin nearly reached $50,000. The spot Bitcoin ETFs went live. It was a buy the rumor, sell the news event. We did see an initial negative reaction, a little sell-off. Hopefully you took advantage. Hopefully you bought that fear because the market quickly bought it back up and took Bitcoin to new all-time highs. Now, what do we see leading up to the spot ETH ETFs going live? Well, we were down here at the 28 area, 29, right under 3,000. We did kind of run up to about 3,500. Bitcoin also recovered around this time. It could mainly be Bitcoin. Of course, ETH is going to kind of follow around Bitcoin, but at times I do believe it's going to do its own thing. I do believe Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin over the following months. And look at what ETH saw. We saw a lot of anticipatory run because of Bitcoin spot ETFs going live. We saw a run from Ethereum. When Bitcoin runs, the altcoins follow. But yeah, Ethereum was like $1,500 back when Bitcoin was under 28,000. Ethereum ran to about 2,800 before cooling off before the spot Bitcoin ETFs, the buy the rumor, sell the news event. Ethereum was affected as well. Shortly after, it did rally just like Bitcoin all the way to about 4,100, not new all-time highs. We haven't broke our all-time highs from last cycle, keep that in mind. I do think we are going to this year. I personally do think within a few months we are going to see new 52-week highs and perhaps new all-time highs, breaking this yellow level here. Breaking those. And I'll show you the big pattern I see for Ethereum. This long-term broadening pattern. We are going to break last cycle all-time high. I do think this cycle Ethereum will peak somewhere around 8,000 to 10,000. We'll see what happens there. But I do think by the end of the cycle in 2025, wherever it ends up being, we're going to see an $8,000 to $10,000 Ethereum. And perhaps our next crypto winter low is like $3,000. Not much lower than we are here. If we follow our long-term pattern, this is what I expect Ethereum to do over the coming years. It will go up and to the right. There will be pullbacks, but in general, Ethereum will appreciate in price, just like Bitcoin does. Now, how do you guys feel about the spot Ethereum ETFs? Are you taking advantage? Are you buying any ETH ETFs? I know I didn't cover the Bitcoin miners, but what Bitcoin miners are you taking advantage of today? It does look like a pretty red day across the board, and we definitely need to be taking advantage of days like this while we get towards the end of the cycle. I do believe there's a lot of juice left to this rally, and we're still just somewhere around the middle point. But remember, the back half of this rally, you do want to start securing profits. When certain things run and become a much larger percentage of your portfolio, you definitely want to kind of weigh things out, manage risk a little bit, take some profits off the table. Because remember, the Bitcoin miners, the cryptos, they are volatile. They are going to rip to extreme levels, and they are also going to dip. There are going to be some hard crashes in the future. Things aren't always rainbows and sunshine. So when things are going great, you want to take some profits along the way. Thanks as always for watching, guys. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time.